So, I think we should, well, we can stay up a little late tonight. So, I think, everybody having fun on the cruise? What, kids cruise? Yeah, absolutely. So, since we get to stay up a little late tonight, I like the people who were in pajamas. I'm ashamed of the ones that didn't have enough balls to put on pajamas. Part of having fun is loosening up and getting into the spirit. But, in any case, I think, since we're staying up late, I think we should watch some cartoons. And you can turn out that. So, you know, we're all kids here. We can pretend we're kids. Do we have any little kids here? Any children? Any children want to come up here? Want to come up here? Come on. Come on, we got pillows up here. Come on. Right. More? Come on. Right. You having fun? Yep, I like the star. Very cool. We got, hey.
Hi.
How are you? Come on. You like the cartoons? Very good. We got more. But, so, since we're all together and this is the last night, anybody have any questions? We can do a little, I'm here to answer your questions. Anybody out there, we can do what we call the Q&A. Anybody here? Any of you got a question for me? Go ahead.
No, but I like your onesie.
Oh, thank you.
So, real quick question. What are your intakes of when Eric Carr died?
Big question. Well, when somebody who's close to you dies, passes away, it's horrible. You know, you always think about maybe what you could have said, what you could have done, and it's just a big loss to lose somebody, because nobody can ever take anybody else's place. So, you know, I miss him to today, right? I was just talking about him yesterday, but maybe that's how we keep people alive, is by talking about them and thinking about them, you know. When people die, we still have them in us, you know, because we remember things they told us, and we remember, you know, things they may have said to encourage us, or funny things they did. So in that way, people live on. They live on through us. So yes, I miss them, but you know, I had them in my life.
Did you ever write any songs or do anything like in honor because he died?
No, I've never thought about doing that, but it would, you know, it would be tough, because I wouldn't want to write a sad song. I'd want to write a happy song. I'd rather write a song about the good things that somebody did when they were with me, rather than trying to write about them being gone. So, but I never thought about it.
On another note, I was wondering what shade of red lipstick you wear. Because I do makeup. I'm a theater kid and I do makeup in technical theater, and I'm just wondering, like, why not?
Do you think I know what color makeup is? I know it's cheap. I forget what they call it. I really don't know. Some sort of cheap red. It's bright. Anybody else up here?
What do you do backstage? What does Eric and Tommy and Gene and you do backstage?
Well, Eric and Tommy and Gene are in a separate dressing room from me. They talk a lot. Well, actually, they don't. Gene talks a lot. And they listen a lot. And they like to play music all the time. So I'm in my own room just listening to whatever I want to listen to. And I've got weights and all kinds of stuff in there so I can kind of warm up before the show and do what I need to do to get ready. But there's too much noise in the other room. So I don't know what they're doing in there. But they're very noisy.
What kind of music do you listen to?
What music do I listen to? I listen to a lot of music. I listen to classic rock. I listen to, the things that you would expect. Led Zeppelin. I listen to the Beatles. I listen to a lot of that stuff. I also listen to there's good music being made today. Post Malone is doing some pretty cool stuff. Ariana Grande is doing some, she's a great singer. And I think it's important. It's really easy for people to get stuck in one kind of music. And that's kind of like eating one kind of food. And if you really listen to music, you should know that there's only two kinds. There's good music and bad music. And there's some really awful rock and roll, and there's some really great jazz, and there's some really good opera. There's all kinds of music. So when I was growing up, I was lucky because when I would go to concerts, you would have 3 bands playing, and the bands were nothing like each other. You wouldn't go to a bill where you would see like a heavy metal band and another heavy metal band and another heavy metal band. You'd see 3 very different types of music. And I think that was much better, because it kind of opened people's ears and eyes to what's out there besides what they're used to. You should be able to listen to something and say, it's not my kind of music, but it's good. Yes, little guy.
Do you have your guitars in your room, or do they keep it in a storage?
That's a great question. I don't have any guitars upstairs. I had about 30 or 40 guitars when I got here, but they're all gone. They're taking them home. But there was no guitars. I had a guitar in my room because I was actually writing a song, and I needed a guitar, so they brought one. But then they took it back and sold it.
What's your favorite place in the world?
There's so many great places in the world. When I was growing up in New York City, I thought every city was like New York. And I went to Chicago and I went, well, this isn't like New York. And then I went to Los Angeles and that wasn't anything like it. And then I started traveling. And every country that I go to, most of them are very different than each other, but there's so many great, great countries. I love Australia. I love South America. There's something to say about every country that I've ever been to. So they're all really, really cool, really special.
I am from upstate New York.
Where?
In Mayfield.
Is that near Syracuse or Rochester or Albany? Albany. I've been up there. It gets cold. It gets really cold. You like
That's
it up?
the freezing part of New York.
Yeah, it's really, really cold. You have to bundle up, right? You have to wear really warm clothes.
That's why I wish I lived in Florida.
Smart.
So in a book I read, Kiss book, it said that when Peter originally brought Beth to the table, you guys weren't really sure about it. Is that true? Do you?
Well, first you have to realize that everything you read isn't true. You know, it depends on who's saying it. Just like if somebody talks to you, you got to make sure that what they're telling you is true. So if somebody puts something into a book, just because you see it written out doesn't make it true. So I'm not sure who was saying that, but that's a really long story, and I want to keep everybody happy. There were a lot of people involved in writing that song, and we were really, really happy that our producer, Bob Ezrin, wrote a lot of that song, and we recorded it, never thinking anything would happen. It was on Destroyer. So back then, when you put out a song, it would have two sides, a record. So we put out a song, Detroit Rock City, and the song that we put on the other side was this song that nobody expected to do anything, which was the way most bands worked. You put the song on the opposite side that wasn't going to have any chances of becoming popular. Lo and behold, radio stations churned the record over and they played Beth, and Beth became a huge hit. And somebody became a huge problem.
What's your favorite song or your favorite album?
You know, I love some of the early songs. I don't necessarily love the way they were recorded, but Gene and I wrote so many songs in such a short period of time because we were so excited to be writing together. So you've got Strutter and 100,000 Years, and we worked on Juice together and Black Diamond. So there's a lot of great songs. There's great songs on Sonic Boom. There's Modern Day Delilah's a great song. So we've had a lot of great success. It's been great. We could ask some questions out there too, but do you have any other questions that you want to ask?
In Backstage Pass, didn't it say that the Beth's original name was Becky?
Yeah. The guy who came up with the initial part of the song, the guy who came up with the original idea, was writing a song called Beck, and it was about his girlfriend, I think, it was actually about the guitar player's girlfriend in the band he was in, who used to call all the time and bother them while they were rehearsing. So that he was writing a song about Becky, I can't come home right now because we're playing music. And that, over time, got changed to a more common name, which was Beth.
Why did you want to get in a Kiss band anyway?
I didn't want to get into it, I wanted to start it. So, when I was growing up, I went to a lot of concerts and I saw a lot of bands. And a lot of bands that I saw thought they were doing me a favor by playing. And I had bought a ticket to see these bands. And a lot of them just didn't show a lot of respect for me or the audience. So at some point I thought, there's a need for a band that's going to go out there and give people what they deserve. So I got together, I met Gene, and then we looked around and we found Peter and then Ace, and we all were of the same idea that we needed to be this band, be the band that we never saw. And here we are 45 years later. And it's still important to us to make sure that every time we go out on stage, we don't have to apologize for anything we do, that we give 100%, whether it's here or in an arena or in a stadium. We do everything we can to be the best we can be and to live up to, our history and our legend. How'd we do? This is pretty amazing. I met Gene 50 years ago. That's crazy. That's really crazy. He was 21 and I was 7 years old. We met 50 years ago. So the band Kiss has been around about 47 years, something like that. And I guess Kiss is forever. I don't think Kiss will ever. Well, that would get me in trouble. They're all great. They're all great for different reasons. And if I was to point to anyone in particular and say, that's my favorite band, it would hurt a lot of other bands' feelings. And it would make it look like I don't like the other bands. So it's difficult for me. What about out there? Anybody got questions?
Paul, with your kids, what's your favorite time of day? Are you a breakfast dad or are you a bedtime story dad?
I get up really early because my kids have to go to school, and we both drive them. So I'm up at 6:45 in the morning. I used to go to bed at 6:45. Really? I'm so glad.
With Eric being an official legitimate police officer now, I saw the news. Eric is now an official legitimate cop now. Give a big shout out, people. He's a boy in blue now.
Who?
Eric Singer.
Really?
Where have you been? It's on the internet.
Well, that just shows you how much I trust the internet.
Pictures of it. It happened in September. Well, being an official legitimate police officer now, you do realize what that means for the rest of kids,
I
right?
don't even think he's tall enough to be a police. He could be a junior policeman.
With Eric being a police officer now, that means that if you, Gene, or Tommy step out of line, he gets to throw you in jail. And if any bitty kitty taunting raping demon into cell, how long has he been wanting to do that? Be honest.
Well, that's a great question, and I'm so glad you liked it. Who else? Who else has a question they think is great? Okay.
Is there a book you'd like to read for us?
There is a book I will read, but you want to get out of here quicker? What? Okay. I'm with you.
They gave this child a microphone.
Ah. Okay.
Black Diamond is my favorite song. I saw that you're the lone writer listed on the liner notes. Does that mean you wrote all the drum fills and all the bass line?
Oh no, it doesn't work like that. Writing a song means that you wrote the chords, the melody, that you wrote the song, and then the way everybody plays it is based upon an arrangement. And that can come from one person, or it can be collaborative and come from a whole band. So, writing a song and performing and arranging it are two very different things, or can all be wrapped up together. But writing a song has nothing to do with the arrangement.
Who's your least favorite artist in painting?
Maybe you? I don't really have somebody that I dislike. Life's too short to dislike, Find the things you like.
My question is...
Where are you? I'm right here. Good. I'm right here. I'm right here.
Hi, Paul. My name's Irene.
Hi.
My
Yeah, actually, one of my paintings is called My Crazy Dream, and it's just random images. I think probably dreams play a part in your life that you're not even aware of. You know, that's probably why during the day, I'm sure everybody's had a moment during the day when a dream comes back to them that they forgot from the night before because something happens. So, you know, I think dreams probably have more to do with our day than we know.
Hi, Paul.
Hi.
Right in the center. And we all understand it, and of course we're very sad that KISS as a touring band will come to an end, but has it been considered maybe to keep the KISS cruises alive where you can perform without costumes? We love you guys in any format, and we would keep coming back.
You know, somebody said to me today, is there going to be a KISS Cruise 11? And I said, first we have to get to KISS Cruise 10. So I really can't say for sure what's going to happen, but to me, as long as we're all having fun, we can find a way to do this. Beyond that, I really can't say. I don't think we've given it any thought. The end of the road just means exactly what it says. We've just reached a point where to do this 4 times a week and carry around 30 or 40 pounds of gear and give as much as we do, we just know we can't do it indefinitely. And before we really start to falter, we just figured, let's, rather than either stop touring because we can't keep going, as soon as we start to feel like this, and this is the first and only time we've ever felt this, we just thought maybe it's time for, you know, a real celebration to go out and tell people this is it. And this is the only time we've ever really thought about pulling the plug on the band touring. You know, some people will go, oh, you did this once before. It was so different and for such different reasons. You know, the band has never been more tighter as people. We laugh, we have a lot of fun together, which is really the key and core of what makes the band so good at this point, is that we really enjoy each other's company, but we also know that we can't do this forever. You know, it's just impossible. And before anybody starts looking and saying, well, it's not as good as it once was, I think the end of the road show and the tour, you know, is a real kick in the teeth for anybody who thinks that we can't do it, because I think it's the best show we've ever done.
Hey, Bob. My name is Isabel from Germany, and I wonder why you don't repeat the show in Time. Can you tell me this?
I'm sorry?
The show in Time was stopping because of the weather, and I wondered why you don't repeat the show.
You know, it's not so simple when a show has to be canceled or we have to stop. It's not so simple to just come back the next day or to come back the next week, because the next week you can be thousands of miles away. So you can try to reschedule something in another leg of a tour, but it's impossible to just turn around and come back, do it the next day. Most of the time that's just not feasible. So do we plan on going back? Sure, but we have to do that when it makes sense. You know, that show got stopped because the town officials and the fire department said stop because it was a danger to the people in the audience. So it wasn't our choice or decision. That's a decision that has to be made by the people who know what they're doing, and certainly the local fire department and those people know more than we do. And when they said stop because this can be a danger to people, we did. And then after that, we just have to figure out what we can do to make it up. But it's just not feasible necessarily to do it you know, the next day, a week later. It really comes down to maybe a secondary trip, because, you know, we have a lot more shows to do, and hopefully we'll get a chance.
Hi, Paul. This is Alex from Brazil over here.
Yes,
What about, you said about some countries that you love and some places that you love. I would like to know about sightseeing and some pre-show preparation, if you have time to do that, and what it is that you do just before the concert about food and sleep and painting, etc. If you can manage your time to do some sightseeing in all of the countries there too.
I've seen so much already that really on days off, chances are, I think most of us in the band, we stay put. We put a lot of miles on being on stage, and on a day off, it's nice to kind of chill, just sit back and take it easy. You know, we might go out for dinner or something like that, or go to the movies, but sightseeing, you know, I've seen a lot, maybe more than I should.
All right, I'm up pretty high here on your right hand. This is going to be your last question.
Hi, Paul. I'm from Detroit, and obviously the automotive culture is pretty popular on Woodward Avenue, and I've had some arguments with my buddies about your stylistic choices on your signature Stingray on the Corvette, and I was wondering what went into that process, why you chose the white, and kind of how it came to be.
The white?
On the roof and the side mirrors. And the grill.
It wasn't white.
Yeah, it's burgundy towards red with a white kind of.
It's not white, it's brushed. It's like brushed aluminum.
So, okay.
So ignore that.
Brushed aluminum, then what was the choice and why you kind of chose not to have one solid color?
Because because I think up until the last iteration of the Stingray, it really was a very American car, and with the last one, it became much more of an international sports car with a much more European flair to it. And there's some great Ferraris with two-tone, with body color being, you know, a rich color, and the roof being brushed or something like that. And as far as the grill, the car has this great open mouth in the front, and when the grill was black, you didn't even see it. So I wanted it to match the roof. They must have thought I did something right, because they want me to do it again. General Motors. Is that it? What?
The kid in the... Yes.
Are you his dad? What's my oldest guitar? I've got a guitar, let's see, I've got a guitar that's from 1954. So that's pretty old. And it belonged to I got it from somebody an old person who died, and it was actually a guitar that he played very rarely, and it was under his bed. So it looks like a brand new guitar, but it's you know, 50, 60 years old. What do you think of that? Yeah. Wow. Well, that's a good question. The first show that I did, I was really nervous. And the reason you're nervous most of the time when you're a performer is because you haven't built up confidence. You don't have experience. I'm not nervous anymore going on stage because I've done it so many times. I kind of know I'm pretty good. So, I get excited. The difference is I want to go out and play for people. So when I'm backstage, I'm just ready to go out there because I know I can do something great and I want to do it for the people who like what I do. And the last show, I think it's going to be hard to realize it's the last show. I think when we're playing, it might not even seem real that that's the last of the touring that we're going to do. But everything has to end. And the best thing you can do is love what you did in the past, but you can't live in the past. You have to live in the present. And you kind of think about what you once did and are happy about it and enjoy it, but you go forward. Anybody want to? Yeah? How old am I? Am I too old to wear this? 50-year-olds do it. Yeah. 67-year-olds do it too. I have a book here. This book is kind of cool. This book was written by a guy named Petey Mongelli. Star around her eye to make her look tough. Do I look tough? At the concert that night, they had the best seats. When Kiss started to play, it was a real treat. The stage lighting was an incredible sight. As the band played, I Wanna Rock and Roll All Night. Can you sing that? I wanna. You did so good last night. Then the pyro went off, and the stage filled with fire. Adriana was scared as the flames reached even higher. Then she looked at her daddy and saw the thrill on his face. The fire was just part of the show, and actually quite safe. There were giant screens, flashing lights, and smoke everywhere. Then the lead singer, Paul, jumped in the air. Paul flew over the crowd like a bird soaring free. Adriana looked up, her tiny face full of glee. At the end of the show, Daddy took her backstage. She snapped pictures with Kiss. Paul swept her away. Oh, that star child. That night as she slept and dreamt of her day, it wasn't the band that started to play. Oh, look at her teddy bear. Up on the stage was the best show around. Adriana and Daddy brought the house down. And you had a good time. This was fun. We'll see you. Have a great night. This has been the best Kiss Cruise for me. We'll see you on Kiss Cruise 10. Can we get a picture with you? Come on, come over here. Who's got a camera? Come on over here.
Greg, for a picture. I got a photographer.
Thank you so much.